The official story paints them as little more than amoral opportunists. Yet that narrative feels profoundly incomplete. They emerged from the deepest shadows of history, not as loyal knights or conscripted citizens, but as something more enigmatic, professional soldiers for hire. Their origins, surprisingly, trace back further than many realize, to quasi-vassal tribes battling alongside the Roman Empire. From these ancient roots, they evolved through the chaotic and fractured European polities from the 5th to the 16th centuries. These were men primarily driven by stark economic opportunity, consistently filling a critical, often desperate, void for experienced combatants across a continent perpetually in flux and torn by conflict. But their true era of immense power, what many historians call their golden age, spanned the 13th to 16th centuries. Amidst the relentless carnage of the Hundred Years' War and the brutal Italian Wars, the demand for their unique martial services soared. These early mercenary bands operated with surprising organization, much like commercial enterprises. Often remarkably diverse in their ethnic makeup, they secured contracts, typically paid partially in advance, for seasonal tours of duty, a pragmatic financial arrangement that allowed them to thrive. It wasn't uncommon for them to serve opposing sides within the very same conflicts, embodying a ruthless pragmatism that directly challenged entrenched ideas of feudal honor. Foreigners like John Hawkwood, for instance, carved out powerful lives far from home, migrating to Italian city-states or crusader states in Greece, where they forged formidable forces such as the legendary Catalan Company, the Navarrese Company, and the Great Company, all renowned for their military efficiency and unparalleled professionalism. They were, in essence, utterly indispensable. Yet, a profound, almost institutional, disdain shadowed their every step. Literati, powerful nobles, and influential religious figures consistently branded them as amoral, unchristian, or fundamentally lacking loyalty. Religious objections were frequently raised, citing their perceived disregard for Christian values and their motivations rooted purely in monetary gain. Secular critics, perhaps most famously Niccolò Machiavelli, saw in them a profound lack of warrior virtue and a dangerous inability to commit fully to any specific polity. But we must ask, were these criticisms a complete and unbiased truth? Or were they merely the convenient judgments of those who benefited most directly from their brutal efficiency, while simultaneously needing to distance themselves publicly from such cold pragmatism? Despite this pervasive dishonor and condemnation, mercenaries not only persisted, but thrived due to the relentless cycle of constant warfare and the accumulation of wealth by nobles, ensuring a perpetual market for their specialized skills. Their distinct decline as purely medieval entities began in the 15th century, marked by the gradual rise of centralized military forces and the collapse of the remaining crusader states, which significantly limited their traditional markets. Unemployed mercenaries from the 15th century, like the notorious écorcheurs, became synonymous with destructive rampages, only intensifying societal opposition. By the 18th century, vast colonial empires with their substantial armies further marginalized these independent fighters, pushing many towards piracy or deep involvement in colonial conflicts. The 19th century heralded nation-states and mass conscripted armies. Yet the mercenary spirit persisted, finding new avenues in illicit gun smuggling and renewed colonial struggles. Even in the 20th century, their shadowy presence re-emerged in Africa and Latin America, sometimes linked to intelligence agencies or dictatorship, prompting a largely unsuccessful attempt to ban them by the 1977 Geneva Convention. The medieval mercenary may have faded with the early modern era's economic shifts, giving way to national or volunteer armies. But the profession, in its essence, never truly disappeared. It simply evolved, finding new forms in modern private military companies and an enduring, global market for privatized conflict. This fundamental dynamic was centuries ago, and the same pattern is quietly yet profoundly happening right now, just under a different name.